All right.
So it's like
Yeah.
clap. Let's go.
Let's go.
So let's can you do a proper introduction about you?
Yeah. Hi everyone. I'm not sure how many people are watching this. I'm Sibo Liu. From China. Right now, I'm living in Beijing. I'm a luthier, a guitar maker to be specific, and I've been studying and training under Ervin Somogyi's program, long distance trainee for 4 or 5 years. I can't remember, and I'm visiting him. Hopefully this year, since we got to wait for the visa to come out, and I've been building guitars for 7 years, 6 or 7 years, and yeah, that's about it. It's a very brief introduction.
Nice. So that will bring me to the first question. So your background is perfect. What brought you to Ervin? How did you discover his work and him, and what is your story with him?
It's very interesting. I was interpreter and translator to begin with. When I was in university, I was an English major, and I took some courses and training camps to do interpreting, and that's how I got my spoken English skills. And I was trying to do something like meaningful that actually means something after I die, or better, before I die. I want to get my name, on something. I want to get my name on something like a blog, like some essays and papers, stuff like that. I don't want to just, because when you interpret for someone, we've been working for, as interpreter for like several months or several years, you just realize that I'm not saying being a service for someone is bad, but it gets boring, and it's not just what I want. Just let me put it that way. I want my name on something, but you can't do that in interpreting. You can't do that in interpreting because you're just serving people. You're regurgitating someone else's, lines and phrases and sentences and words. You're trying to express the emotions of someone else. You're like a dog, in a movie, but you're there. And it's kind of demeaning for me personally, because I don't like the idea after a year or two working as interpreter, and I try to translate some documents and essays, because I just figured out, well, when you're translating something instead of interpreting, you can actually, sit down and read the stuff, the actually important stuff, the technical parts, the stories, the principles, everything, the theories, then you understand it. When you understand it, translate it, and somehow you change the world. Because some companies, like I used to translate the blueprints for the subways in Beijing, and they build the train in Beijing based on what I translated. I translated a part of it. The aerodynamic system, something like that. Yeah, back in the day. So I found out it's actually more important just being a translator when you're translating technical stuff, because you actually make a change in the world. So yeah, but I've always been a pretty avid, record collector and music enthusiast for many years. So I've been collecting records. I've been going to concerts. I've been playing guitars with my friends, university and everything. And one day I just met a friend who introduced me to a set of books, two volumes called The Responsive Guitar and Making the Responsive Guitar, because he knew I was a translator, interpreter, and in good hopes, I would just pick it up and translate it for the sake of interest or anything to benefit the Luthier world in China and blah blah blah. I didn't know people were actually building guitars with their hands back then. I didn't know that. I didn't know it actually existed. So I was like, what? People building their guitars themselves, like with a knife or something like that. I didn't know. I had no idea.
But
right? I never heard
just
of those people.
Give me a couple of seconds. I need to Can you hear me properly?
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfectly.
I'll just okay. Because my phone, the microphone is directly on the ground, and I don't think will be true. Oh,
I'm
like,
like my scar.
okay. I think it's better. I think. Yeah. Oh. Oh, I will check something much more. Um, maybe. Sorry, I should have checked this out earlier. Okay, I don't think it will work, but if you can hear me properly,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think we
I
are,
can
we are
hear.
good. Yeah. Okay,
Okay,
let's do it like that. Okay.
should I continue?
Yeah, it's good. Sorry.
Okay,
So yeah, to leave a mark, to let a testimony of your like existence on this earth. It's something like that.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So so I got the books and
Mhm.
I turned the pages. I found it really interesting. At first glance, it was like, the first time I ever read something from 1800s. Like the scientists, they wrote things back in 1800s. They got some graphs, handwritten notes, for
Mhm.
like a secret weapon that can be used in World War II. The secret documents you can find in Nazi Germany
Yep.
or, FBI or something like that. And I turned the pages and was like, holy shit, it's so cool, man. Some people actually wrote books about guitar making, about something
Mhm.
I'd never heard of, and they can actually build this stuff with their own hands with some tools you can buy in Walmart or whatever. So I was, fascinated by all of this, and I was like, I can definitely give it a shot to translate them.
Mhm.
I was not sure, but I understood the English part. I didn't understand the technical part, but I could understand the English part. So I was like, let me give it a shot, man. Please, let me get a shot.
Mhm.
I don't even give a shit if I lose money on this because I got a job or everything. Is it's okay. I can do this for free just for the community. Uh, yeah. So I started translating. After 2 months, I just found out that it's basically impossible. It's impossible to translate a box
Mhm.
if you don't know about guitar making. It's impossible, man.
Yep.
If you can't make a guitar yourself, you can't actually make a good guitar or decent guitar yourself. You're never going to understand what Ervin was saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Leave alone
Yeah.
translating a Chinese perfectly or next perfect. So I was like, okay, so now I'm gonna have to learn about woodworking and guitar making myself.
Yeah.
But I know you can't do it yourself. So I tried to contact Ervin um, through a friend of mine in New York. He was a very good friend of mine. He was like a brother.
Mhm.
He is like a brother to me. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Excuse me. So he's in New York. He's in Long Island. I talked to him and was like, well, let me try to get you to the Ervin, see if you can find his contacts. Uh, so I wrote Ervin an email, a pretty long
Mhm.
email that took me like 2 days to finish and another 2 days to perfect. And I sent him an email, and Ervin was like, okay, this is interesting. Some Chinese dude trying to translate my books and asking for my permission.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah.
the first time. Yeah. So he asked me like 25 questions in the email.
Yeah, I know
Um,
his long emails and super well right because he was a teacher, right?
yeah,
He was an English teacher maybe because he was from Bulgaria,
yeah, yeah, Bulgaria.
from East Europe,
Oh,
and yeah, it's super
yeah, probably.
important to. It was a good move to make like a super, very well made email, and I know he's someone who will appreciate that. So yeah.
Yeah. So he asked me like 25 questions or 30, I can't remember, but at least 2 dozen. About me, my life, why I'm doing this, like why would anybody be doing
Mhm.
this? He was like, it's possible. just there's nothing good for you in you, in it for you. I was like, yeah, it took me like 2 weeks or so to finish answering all the questions because
Mhm.
there were like 2,000 questions.
Mhm.
And finally, yeah, I answered all of them. I sent back, and Ervin was like, okay, this dude seems legit. He's not a bad person. Uh, yeah, so we got into this, email conversations day after day after day after day, and he gave me permission to translate the books. And I think in the December of that year, 2019, I think, Fingerstyle China visited Ervin.
Mhm.
Uh, the Wei Feng, okay, Wei Feng, from representing Fingerstyle China, visited Ervin in California, and somehow they talked about this project, about the book translation and the publishing stuff in China, and Wei Feng was really interested, so he offered Ervin to translate, sorry, to publish the books
Wow,
for him in China.
awesome.
Yeah, he didn't know what the books was about.
Mhm.
He didn't know what the books were talking about, and he certainly doesn't know anything about guitar making. But he trusted Ervin, and he trusted Ervin's taste in terms of picking candidates or whatever.
Mhm.
And so yeah, he was like, he contacted me after going back to China, and he was like, okay, so Ervin told me about you. You're translating his books. Let's negotiate. Like how much want to sell your scripts and service. He was like pretty straightforward, very straightforward. He's a businessman, so
Yeah.
we got into just negotiating and about prices in 5 minutes. And after a while, we settled down the deal. Yeah, so we signed a contract in a while, and we didn't sign it for a while, but we got all the terms done, and I was still translating the books. So then at the same time, I was learning about guitar making and everything, and Ervin was he was on the phone all the time, like every night. For me, every night. For him, every morning. He would probably just, wait there. Not for me, but he was there, and I would call him, and we talked for 2 or 3 or 4 hours. So and he would tell me about philosophies, principles about guitar making, about how the boards actually resonate, vibrate, how things reflect everything, and I was like, wow, man, so good, and I couldn't get enough of it. So after a while, I decided uh, to set up my own studio, my own workshop. He was like, "Yeah, it's perfect, man. Yeah, you should have a new workshop for yourself because I got a workshop before with several of my
Mhm.
friends as a hobby. It collapsed because of malfunctioning financing. Let's put it
Okay.
that way. Yeah, so it collapsed, and yeah, so I set up a new workshop studio with Ervin's help and advice. Yeah, that's it. And so we kept this training and teaching and learning, and he would give me assignments. He would give me assignments like in universities. Uh, yeah, so I've talked to you about this, about that. So maybe you should try to actually finish this project in the next 15 days and show me the result after that,
Mhm.
something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we keep doing this, and I would send them pictures and videos of stuff, and I would ask them questions. And Ervin really preferred this way of teaching. I call it, and he probably calls it too, the Plato's teaching. He never
Mhm.
answers you any question directly. Like he wouldn't just give you any answer right off. He was like, "What do you think?" I was
Okay.
like, "That's exactly why I started to ask you about this a minute ago." But he was like, "No, no, 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 no. I believe you have the answer or a percentage of the answer. It's just you don't know that you know it." I was like, "You gotta be shitting me, man. Is this gonna be normal
It
for the
sounds
rest of my
like,
life?"
yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
So so it's a book he wrote like a couple of like 15 years ago, something like that. I was at school and the book was on the library. So will you bring some new stuff in the Chinese version, or will it be like A to Z, all the book exactly like the current version, or did he want to bring some new pictures, some
Yeah.
new yeah?
I think most of the pictures and paragraphs and sentences or descriptions, instructions are the same. Most of them, like 90, 95%, 98% of them are exactly the same. But I did several things different
Mhm.
with him. First of all, there are some errors. There's some errors in his original version. He got like several editions before I translate them, and even the last edition got some errors in them, like the sequence of making a Somogyi style neck. I remember was a bit wrong.
Mhm.
The order, the sequence of everything was kind of problematic, and I figured out. I was like, Ervin, maybe you should take a look at it and see if we should change it. He was like, oh shit, I can't believe it. We didn't find this out
Yeah.
the first time. Yeah, stuff like that. But it's not his fault. I mean, he wrote like literally 500,000 words.
Okay. Nice.
So
Awesome.
yeah, some mistakes in terms of sequence and order is okay. But it's my job to find out, where it can be perfected and everything. So I try to find out some errors, some typos,
Mhm.
some parts, and so he changed them. He modified everything, and he decided to delete some of the paragraphs and chapters that are no longer useful
Okay.
in 2024, like the trade deals he wrote in the books in 1990s
Mhm.
or 80s. They
Yeah.
don't work anymore. You don't put a flag on top of a roof or everything,
Mhm.
anything. It's
Okay.
different trade deals, so he deleted them. And the alphabet, in terms of Chinese, we don't have alphabet, so the whole alphabet and vocabulary part gone. I translated them.
Wow.
Took me 2 months to translate
Wow.
the alphabet and vocabulary.
Just
And he was like, "Oh shit, I don't think it's necessary. Just delete this stuff." I was like, it was too much work. But okay, yeah. So then I figured, in the process of translating the books, some Chinese guitar makers contact me. They went me like, do you think I have the secret numbers, like the data, or the plans for the Somogyi guitar that you can sell it to me? It can, stuff like that.
no
They're very
way.
interested. Yeah,
Wow.
they're very interested. They're very interested in the plans and numbers. They want to
Well,
get
no.
like, yeah, they want them. They actually want them. They would die for them. It was like, oh shit, I would pay $1 million to get the numbers and stuff. I was like, dude, I would like to have $1 million, but we don't have them.
Yeah.
We seriously don't have them.
There,
And
there.
yeah,
It
so
is. It's like industrial secrets. You don't give
yeah,
that. It's like well, go find yours. And by the
yeah,
way, these numbers don't have it don't have any sense because each piece of wood is different. Each top will be different. How you will voice it for each musician. It's like okay, but you ask me that, but don't you know that as professional builder? It's
they
like
don't.
it's nonsense. It's not
They don't.
like magic. It's like your way to do that. Irvin got his way to do that, and well, no, sorry. Go ask Irvin. You'll see how you will be
Yeah.
welcomed. So yeah,
Yeah, if they ever ask Irving will tell them a joke and just leave. That's how he deals with this. But I had to tell them, no, we don't have numbers
yeah,
because of this and that. And even if we did, they are probably not going to be in the books because you want to spend like $270 to get trade secrets. That's going to
yeah,
change your life, even
yeah.
if they
And
exist.
I remember back at school, so it was like 2020 or 2021, we had a talk between students, and some of them were like, yeah, but there is nothing in this book to know how to build a Somogyi guitar and some useful informations. He say nothing in the end.
No.
Well, you need to read between the lines, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, look, he's giving you how to make a cutaway of Florentine. All the steps are here.
Yeah.
How could you say there is nothing in this book? So yeah, but because I think the Benedetto book with Archtop, you know, I think there are numbers with the thickness and all the stuff, but it is to start.
Yeah. Yeah.
I will host Danny Quentop. We talk about this podcast together a couple of days ago, and he was like, "Oh wow, okay, yes, it would be cool." And I think we'll talk about that because uh, we've all started at school, at masters workshops as apprentices, or some people just started with the Benedetto book and things like that. There are tons of different approaches how builders started, and I think it will be interesting to ask to Danny what is his feelings about that, because yeah, and of course if you see things like that, there is nothing in those books. Yeah, but you need to work on it. If you just read the book and you don't have a workshop to experiment things and extra, it will be difficult, but it's not a magic recipe like how to make a cake or something like that. It's
No.
Luthier, you know. You don't tactone flour or or sugar. You are not like, oh yeah, this
Yeah.
brown sugar is great. Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah.
so it's awesome. And my next question is, how is the Chinese market comparing to Europe, the US? I have a couple of dealers in Hong Kong, but it's not China. But
Yeah.
they've told me about some things because they were in the Shanghai guitar show in October, and it
Yeah.
was like hell, because just for example, when you want to export a guitar to China, the taxes and all the custom fees are like insane. And
Insane. Yes.
yeah, and they've told me some stories, and for an European guy like me, I'm French, it's like, oh wow, it's not even like that in France, in Canada, in the US. It's something else of its own, you know.
Yeah.
And how is it for a builder like a builder like you, like Ervin, like I don't know, well, an independent builder, excuse me, to go there, especially in the steel string, because classical guitar it's something else either. But yeah, how is it? Because I think
Well.
it would be interesting for many builders that are, yeah, Zheng, yeah, difficult question. Yeah, like Zheng say, difficult question. I don't know if you can see the interaction with the people on the stream. Can you see that or not?
I. I. I think I can see someone send me some comments in the comment section.
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
because
That's it.
some people some people are interacting with us. I've just saw that. You know, when someone is entering in the stream, you can see, okay, uh,
Oh.
Zheng Bohui is here, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you see that? Yeah.
I can see that part. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. So. Yeah, the market in China, in terms of scale, is pretty big. It's
Hmm.
like mega. It's it's 1.5 billion people market. You sell anything in China, you know, man, you're gonna get rich. But
Mhm.
there's a very big problem, and it's a very big but. Um, uh, yeah, but in China, most of the guitars are, that are being sold are very cheap guitars. Like you wouldn't believe it. In China, if you actually want to buy a guitar as cheap as possible, it's gonna take you like $30 or 40.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can
but
you can
this
get
is
one.
cheap guitars in terms of craftsmanship. It is cheap, right? Or all the guitars are okay.
Yeah. So most people like the huge market. The market is
Mhm.
huge. 90% of the market is about low end guitars. Like
Okay.
people they can't afford decent guitars, so they take up like at least 90% of them. They
Okay.
spend like $100, $150, $200, $300. That's it. So when some of these people they graduate from these $200 guitars, they want something nice, nicer, better looking, better sounding, anything. Then they look in their wallets and they were like, sorry, because these guitars are like $1,500 guitars. Uh, yeah, $2,000 guitars. Then like 5% of the original 90% actually graduated into like Martin guitars and Taylor guitars and Gibson
Mhm.
guitars. And a very small percentage of these people, these fans, they graduate into this, like handmade guitars, craftsman guitars, either from Martin guitars or Gibson guitars or from cheaper guitars, much cheaper guitars,
Mhm.
depending on their educational background, how early they got contact with craftsmanship guitars and handmade guitars and whatsoever. But very small percentage of people, these enthusiasts and fans, they can get their hands on some nice guitars that are made by Luthier. Um, then they look at prices because, yeah, China is like the second biggest economy in the world, but it doesn't mean that we have the largest middle class population. Actually, the middle class population in China is rather small.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, because most people are just fucking poor, and so these people who can afford a handmade guitar, a decent one, they'll take them some time to understand, to take the education about these guitars, and they will be like, okay, now I'm gonna spend like let's say yeah, 100,000 RMB. That's uh, mm, 15,000 US dollars, I think now on the guitar. I'm
Yeah.
not sure, how everything goes in the US or Canada, but in China, if you're asking someone for, 100,000 RMB is like ridiculous for an instrument.
Yeah,
Because
you can pick violins, piano, and I think it was with Mao Zedong that
yeah,
they encourage parents to teach violins to kids. I think it's something like that, and piano and something because you can see the international. I have some friends in the Quatuor Luthier, violins, bows, and all this stuff, and you can see the national competition, and there are some little kids, and this is something you can see on YouTube
yeah,
on with
yeah,
guitars, and it's like because having a successful kid, and I think it's like that in Japan, for example, but in Europe, everywhere else, it's a way to to
yeah,
pull up in terms of class. And you can see some little kids that are doing some Mozart concerting, some Bach. It's insane. And yeah, and I don't know what is the percentage of people who are playing violin versus guitar. It would be interesting to have the numbers about that, but I see what you mean, and yeah, it is, and the middle class in France, for example, in the world, actually, rich people are richer and poor people are poorer. So the middle class is like,
yeah, it's fucked.
yeah. So and the thing is like, when you said, how is it in North America during COVID? Some people had in Canada and, well, in the US or France. I am not living in US or France, so I don't know. But in Canada, we had some help from the government. Some money was, they were giving money each month for us to
Yeah,
survive, you know. But you needed to have some, you needed to fill some criteria to have that. And, well, we could not, we were not able to travel anymore. So people were staying at home. They had money, or some people were still working, and hats off to them, because during COVID it was like hell. So people started to buy guitars because it was like the only thing to, not the only thing to do. You could game,
yeah,
you know. So I think in 2021 or 22, or maybe 2019, I don't remember. It was the biggest year sale for Fender of all the history. It was like the sales were like, it was, and for builders too.
yeah,
Some people were like, okay, I'll buy a guitar from a luthier. But right now, the market just is super slow. So I don't know how it is in China. That's why I'm asking that. But
yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah,
that's what bring me to the next question. Or maybe you still had something to add
yeah.
to
I'm
the
gonna
topic.
add something.
Yeah, go on.
Now the tendency in China is, since the middle class is collapsing, they're
Mm-hmm.
dying out, because just think about who these middle class people are. There were programmers in like ADI, in different companies, really huge internet and new technology companies. They're being kicked out by the age of 35 in China, because
Wow.
they're no longer useful or young enough to stay
Mm-hmm.
up late enough. They're no longer as valuable and expendable.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they're getting young people. They're getting college students every single year, just graduates every single year. So they're the middle class people are being kicked out every single year by I don't know, millions probably. And
Wow.
some of these people, they actually invest with their salary and everything. They
Mm-hmm.
make money. They have a bar, restaurants,
Okay.
sometimes small business. And because of COVID, because of everything, their investments are just failing. They're failing.
Yeah.
So the middle class is kind of collapsing right now, and it's getting smaller and smaller, the population. So right now, the funny thing is, if your guitar is actually expensive enough, it's actually easier to be sold,
Mm-hmm.
because
Okay.
when it's expensive enough in China, some really wealthy people will be interested in them,
Yeah.
because they have money. They got worries like, shit, I don't know if I want to spend like 50,000 RMB on this guitar. Is it good enough?
Mm-hmm.
My budget is like 200,000. You see?
Yeah.
So we are not expensive enough. It's a problem. You gotta be expensive enough, and that's very tricky. Then, if you're not cheap enough, it's another big problem, because most of the people will not be able to afford them. So you either be cheap enough or expensive enough. When you're staying in the middle, where most people are, you're fucked, man. You're gonna have to fight with the sharks. They're like, they work 14 hours a day, 16 hours a day to build guitars, to build as many guitars to sell them as inexpensive as possible by themselves. It's crazy. They're literally fighting with each other at their own workshops, with themselves, because they have to build like 30 guitars, 50 guitars, 60 guitars a year and sell them separately at, I don't know, $2,000. So more people will buy them, and because they have more, because they have built them, then you can sell all of them out and get the money. So
and the market,
yeah,
and
yeah.
the
So
market is flooded.
yeah,
It's
we'll just
flooded with
explode.
guitars.
Yeah, in 5 years, the market will explode in 5 years. But they can't go that far. They can't look at that far.
Yeah,
All they can look
yeah,
at it right now. I'm gonna take care of my rent. I'm gonna take care of my mortgage. I'm gonna take care of my kids. I got food. I got to have food on table
yeah.
and everything. So they're killing their own career by working their asses off and destroying their own health and destroying the market. But everyone for himself right now. So in China, I think the best way for guitar makers to do is you either invest in the guitar factory, even if a small one, to build really, really cheap, crappy, cheap, but usable guitars. And you just advertise them. You just market them all over the world, and so everybody can see them. Some people will be interested, and they're gonna, okay, it's $100, $200, who gives a shit? Just buy them. Someone will buy them. Or you actually try to study or train under a master luthier, or in an academy like you, or or university. If your universities have these majors, then they try to mark up, and they go up and up and up in the market. And the really rich, wealthy people will be interested in your stuff, and you'll be there, to actually sell them stuff.
Mhm.
I think that's how it is in China right now, and that's how I see the future here.
Yeah, and the issue is that first the market is flooded, but it is the same thing everywhere in the world, because there are cheap guitars in Canada and in France and the US and extra. But the other problem it will brought, it is wood. It is the how to the I've lost my English. The sorry. The amount of wood for Luthier is like it's not like it were like 20 years ago, 30 years,
Yeah.
40 years. All the good wood is gone. Not all of it, but the majority. So what would you use to make these guitars? Well, carbon, because there are some carbon guitars, which is awesome, because you can play under rain and outside by minus 40. It's okay. And the thing is that it is offer and l'offre et la demande in French. It is the offer, the wood stock on the market, and what people are asking, And in the end, well, these companies, they want the cheapest wood ever.
Yeah.
So they are buying some. Well, they can make some laminated guitars, but it won't be the same. It will be different, not better, not lower, but and this is bringing me on the same topic. When you are doing Luthier school, Robert Owen, Gallup School. There are two schools in Canada, well, in Quebec, the Brown School at Montreal and the National School of Luthier at Quebec, the one I went to. And it's like, well, it will depend in terms of some years there are like 5 people that are graduated from there. Sometimes it's 10, sometimes 15, but it the fluctuation, the difference will be huge, depending the year, you know. But it's like, okay, you are forming, you are bringing new new builders on the market, on a market that is totally flooded, and the price of food, we talked about that with Eliane a couple of days ago. The price of food skyrocketed. It's insane. And it's like, okay, but our customers want the best wood you could have. They want that.
Yeah.
And especially in China, because with Madagascar rosewood, in fact, my sister lived in China for 5 or 6 years, and she's fluent in Chinese.
Yeah.
So, and my father and my other sister visited her, and I couldn't come, which is so bad because I really wanted to visit China. And they visit a factory of beds. And because my sister had, so her name is Fanny. Fanny had some contacts because she were at Hangzhou at the School of Art. There is a big school there, and they are crafting like wood, stone. And she's so talented. And so she had like her way to go in the supplying warehouses, where like trees of Madagascar rosewood, like insane. And you know, the security with machinery were like super poor. It was like apparently super scary. And because, you know, in China, when you want furniture, is like one of the best way to show you're rich. You know, when you have a Madagascar rosewood bed, one piece, you know, it's like that. So I am saying it's like that. Sorry, I'm not Chinese, but tell me if I'm wrong. But I have the feelings like that. And yeah, when you see that China is protecting their forest, because I think you can cut, there's laws about it, and they are, well, taking, excuse me, they are buying woods where in France with oaks, French oaks, centuries old. They use it to Notre Dame, you know, the cathedral that burned like 5 years ago. And the thing is, like, we are saying China, 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 blah, blah, blah. But European, you know the reason why all the mahoganies in Cuba Island just were cut? To make the big war boats, like in the 17th centuries, they used Cuban mahogany for some pieces of the boats, because it was super straight, stable to build this boat. So the reason why there is no real Cuban mahogany in forest in this is European fault. You know, all the French, English, Portuguese were a big force in the boat industry.
Yeah.
So it is just a pattern that we see. Well, ebony was the wood to trade slaves like centuries ago, and we are using that for guitars, and it's fine. So I have trouble when people are saying it's Chinese fault. No. Sorry, we did that before, so we don't have any lessons to give. But yeah, and the luthier we will use like 1-2 trees if you bring all the species, like in terms of volumes. But yeah, but we are part of the problem, and I know the people who are fighting for us in the CITES. I think it's every 4 years they are going to, well, Geneva, or the place where the CITES will where they will discuss about the laws and which which wood you will put on CITES Annex 1, 2, or 3. And it's like crazy because, you know, a couple of years ago, they wanted to put Pernambuco for bows. You know, they are using it for bows in Annex 1 because it's an Annex 2. And it was like catastrophic because it was an entire industry that were in danger. So fortunately, it's lobby. It's lobby battle and all this stuff. It's not clean. It's dirty. But yeah, and Luthier are here. Okay, I need to find my wood for my customer. Okay, how could I do that? Oh shoot! 4 years ago, I could buy a set of Indian rosewood for $100 a set, and right now it's 200 or maybe free. Same thing for Madagascar. It skyrocketed. In 2017, I was at Cremona, Mondo Musica, to exhibit, and Madentier were here. You know, the Spanish dealer. And the story is that in the 90s they bought a big stash of Madagascar rosewood, so they were able to have proof and to say, okay, this wood is pre-ban, so they can do CITES paperwork, literally.
Yeah.
And one set of their master grade stuff, it was 170 euros. And right now, for the same quality, it's like 500, 600. I've ever seen like an 800 set. And it was like in 2022, something like that.
Yeah. Right.
It's insane. And it's like that for every kind of wood. So yeah, so to go back to the topic of, okay, you are a student, you just graduated, you need to have a shitload of money. It's insane.
Yeah.
And the all the great wood, you know, the legend about Ervin that there is a Brazilian rosewood in the bathroom, you know, the joke. Yeah, but because in the 90s, Allied Luthier had a legal stash of wood. They resaw it every Tuesday. And Michi, Ervin, all the guys from the Bay Area, they came there. Okay, we want that. Boom. And they were able to get a big stash, like Jeff Trogot. I visited his workshop when I was at Santa Barbara. I traveled to California for two weeks, so he was kind enough to welcome me in his workshop. The only rule were, okay, no picture. You can take picture, but keep them for you, and don't share, because it's my place. It's private, and it was insane. The amount, but because he invested in that in the 90s, he paid a lot of money for that. So it's naturally it is legit that he could build guitars with that, and to have the fruits of his labor, you know, investment. And the thing is that when you have Brazilian right now and you don't have paperwork, you don't have the invoice, even if it's legal, you can export it. And when and every kind of wood is on the balance, you know. It was pretty French, excuse me. It could happen to every kind of wood. When CITES put every rosewood in CITES Annex 2 in 2016, January 1st, 2016, it was catastrophic, because you needed to declare, or in a couple of days you needed to go on the CITES website to take pictures, to list everything you had, and they were like, early December, okay, you need to do that to have legal to be able to export rosewood even in East England. And it was like, what? But you are putting our business in danger.
Yeah.
So yes, so fortunately in 2019, or 2020, they said, okay, we will do that for every kind of rosewood you are buying, but in raw, slabs or billets. But if you still have rosewood in your stash and you can prove with invoices and all the stuff, it is legal and you did things correctly, it's okay. You can export instruments, finished products legally, which is a relief because when you have the rosewood, you have the rosewood, so you can build with it and export. But it's every kind of rosewood except Brazilian, because Brazilian is the next one since 1992. I think it is something like that. In 1968, Brazil were like, okay, we'll start to put but the real amendments were like in 1992. And the thing is, people in Brazil had like very old forest it was theirs, but when they saw they could not sell anymore, they cut it, burnt it, and they plant coffee or soja, soy, sorry, and it increased. The problem just exploded because it was, the goal was to protect the Brazilian rosewood, and it turned to have the exact opposite effect. So, yeah,
it's all about money.
It's insane. So, yeah. So I'm checking my questions because we are going like that, come back, and my question, yes, it's why did you, if I'm right, you are building steel strings, right?
Yeah, steel string guitars.
Yeah. Why did you choose steel strings instead of classical guitar? Why did you choose? Is it a question of affinity with the instrument? Did you prefer steel string? Why did you make this choice?
Actually, when I first learned about guitar playing, it was steel string guitars. But after several years, I started to learn some, to play classical guitars, and I found out that I really liked, 19 strings and pretty elegant. You can just do it like this. It's pretty good. It's really elegant and everything. The sound is so beautiful. But when I started to learn about guitar making, I just figured out that with classical guitars, like 90% of their job is about copying or duplicating some master's guitars. You can your choices are pretty narrow. You can actually like create designs and structures and everything. It's going to take years and years and years and efforts and reputation for you to actually come up with something new, and the rest of the world can understand and accept. And I didn't like that idea. That was I can't, like, so far I haven't made like two guitars that are shared exactly the same rosette. I think I like every guitar is a different guitar. Good or bad, it's a different guitar. I don't want to make the same thing over and over and over and over again just to make it like perfect. I don't believe in perfect replications of anything, because I don't think the so-called masters, they are masters, but I don't believe back in the days when they were trying to create something new, they were like, I have to do like the perfect identical stuff all over and over again my whole life. They were always coming up with something new, and why can't we, but I know that their community and in terms of music and playing and their culture, it's all about the classical stuff. People hate to hate to say, oh, this is pretty good, this is new. They wouldn't say that. They all want the same materials, same designs, that they can recognize. Oh, from this master's design, that master designs. Oh, you can copy him perfectly.
Yeah.
I heard you can copy him perfectly. It's good. I'm gonna pay you to copy someone. I don't like the idea. I respect them.
Yeah, the refreshing. Oh wow, it's super refreshing. It's like it's a Stradivarius or it's a Guarnerius. Like Quatuor and classical guitars, it's pretty like the same thing. And the choice of wood, if you want, we talk about that pretty oftenly with Antoine Lacasse, a friend of mine at Quebec. He's a restorer. He's working on Torres guitars and like romantic guitars, super old instruments, and it's like, okay, I tried to go in the building, you know, niche in classical guitar, but if you are building a maple guitar in classical world, it's a no-go. It's like we want rosewoods.
Yeah.
We want rosewoods. This is what we want. And whatever the quality of the instruments, if you are building a Brazilian guitar, it will be sold, even if the meters are not perfect, even if and in steel string it is the same thing. There are some woods. It's like, okay, it's an investment, you know. It's like that. But yeah, I can see what you mean by that. We don't have the freedom of design and many things. And I think this is one of the reasons Ervin, because he tried to go in the classical builder, and but there are a couple of videos he explained it on YouTube. I don't remember which one, but it's like, okay, if I remember good, he was like, okay, I was tired of some customers' habits in the classical world, so I wanted to go in the steel string world. And customers were like, oh my god, like I don't remember his terms, but he didn't have the feeling to be judged. And yes, the thing is, he had the feeling his customers were truly happy, and not it was more positive than the classical world in terms of, oh wow, you've built that, oh wow, the steel string, you know. And it was one of the reasons too I choose to go. In fact, for me, it was the choice where, like, I've always been a fan of Martins, and well, the vintage instruments, not the modern. They are great instruments in both ways, but I love all Stratocasters, all Gibson Les Pauls, because I was playing electric guitars. So I was like, okay, it is so cool, but first, if you are going in the Martin market, like John Slobod is doing, Bourgeois, and they are doing Santa Cruz, they are doing it amazingly well, but with their own John, Dana, and Santa Cruz, they are doing it with a personal twist. You know, you are like, oh wow, okay, this is Martin in to the bone. You know, it's like the DNA is Martin, but oh wow, okay, this is a soccer guitar. You know, and Richard, Dana, and John, for me, they are like the three persons that are doing that like perfectly. And someone like Duden Bostel, for example, it's even is pushing it very traditional, you know. Like the thickness of the herringbone, the thing like that. John can do that, but totally, he worked with Dana for a decade, I think 15 years. So he is a master in his craft. But it is, for me, back in the day, I was like, okay, if you are not doing it as close as it could be, there are someone else that will do that. So there will always be someone better than you, because it's Martin, there are codes, it's a century old craft, and I'm super grateful to them, because the X bracing and it's all the modern lutherie come from them, in steel string. So hard to beat, But when you are doing contemporary, when I've discovered Ervin, and many people on our in our craft, I was like, oh wow, okay, this is I can do my stuff. I can do my rosettes, and even if I'm doing right now some rosettes that are very Martin inspired, but this is the funny thing. But all the segmented that Ervin brought, Michi too with his segmented rosette, it's like, okay, wow, you can be yourself. You can do your own stuff and be recognized about that. And I'm still super happy to follow this path, because I think this is the thing for me. It is a good. So I understand what you said. I feel you, because classical guitar. You are like in a mold.
Yeah.
You can go outside the mold. Yeah.
No, you just buy the plan, and you get a chance to see the original stuff. You just try to measure everything and copy everything, so you can go back, make exactly the same thing. And it's like you're I don't know, it's like a mini me. You're trying to make mini this, mini that every single time your whole life, and you're going to be remembered as someone who's really good at copying someone else's work, someone else's brainchild. It's like, I can see that there's value in it, understand it, I appreciate it. I know, like, human race and human society requires for that, and there are people that interested in that, but it's not me. I'm not interested in copying the same thing over and over and over again. Like Ervin used to say to me, okay, like, he was saying, like, well, there's someone in this world already making smart guitars. That's me, because I'm smart. I don't need any of my apprentices to make anything like mine, or at least not exactly the same as mine, because there's no point. If I want to make more smart guitars, I can just simply build them. Why do I have to train you to build my guitars?
Yeah, and you can definitely feel in Leo Buendia guitars, in all the apprentices, Julian Gaffney, well, yours, like Michi, and you can feel the Somogyi. Of course, you are spending 2 or 3 years in his workshop, and but it's not a question to be wise or to be something like that, but they were able to get out from the influence of Ervin and still keeping it to do their own stuff. And I haven't seen a luthier ex Somogyi who graduated who is making the same guitars of Ervin. Maybe at the beginning, and Ervin were doing courses, voicing courses, classes, and it's in his books, all the people who are there. And Michael Bashkin, who is awesome, and he's the one, but he was not apprentice at Ervin, so the affiliation was not as strong as apprentice. And I was like, oh, okay. Michael did that, because I didn't know, and it was a nice surprise, because he were able to do his own very, very recognizable stuff. And even his guitars don't sound like a Somogyi, but it is the one thing, it is super responsive. And this is, for me, well, it's my point of view, but it is the thing he brought from Ervin in his instrument, and very, very brought it at its max. But I think it is super rewarding from a master to see his child, because in 2015 at Woodstock Invitational, the show in the US, it was for Ervin. So all the Somogyi boys were here on a scene with him, and the gift were exchanged with kimonos and with the koi on the back. It was super nice, and he was so proud. It was and all the apprentices were on the stage with him, so it was super nice, and he was like, yeah. It come back to what you said at the beginning of the video. Legacy. You want to leave a legacy,
Yeah.
and to not be forgotten, because it's like that when you have a child. It is the human way to do that.
Yeah.
You want to leave a mark, and this is something that very impressed me. Like in music, like Hendrix, it was. He came in 1966, and he died in 70. In 4 years, his music, it's still modern. You are hearing that, you are like, okay, it's who is this new guy? When you don't know, it was made 50 years ago.
Yeah.
What? And it is the same thing for Bach, Mozart, Beethoven, but it was 300, and the same thing for Stradivarius, Guarnerius, all these people, and Martin, and it is the same thing for amps, the tube technology. It's military technology, but it's still relevant today.
Yeah.
First pedals, all this stuff, all the musical tools we have right now, it was made like, and even the when you have a neck, like Ken Parker is doing that, when you can do your setup in turning some screws. It was made in romantic guitars. I think it's German. Maybe we could talk about that with Antoine. We'll make a podcast episode. But it's like today, if a builder say, I've invented something, I don't see someone who made like, but I'm not saying a rosette, I'm saying like a super important discovery. Well, Ken Parker Ken pretty much did that, and yeah, it's and the guitar is not Stradivarius, Guarnerius, all these old violins from Cremona. They made the statement. It is the end of the violin, the modern violin. It's like that. Well, they recarved the neck in the modern way, romantic way, and not the Baroque way. So it changed the geometry, because musicians started to play with in some kind of different way. I'm not a specialist in that, but the violins, the form luthiers are doing right now, it is the final. It's done. No one could have the balls to say, okay, I will reinvent the violin. Well, there is the amplified violin, solid bodies, I think, but it's not working. The purism. But the guitar, we are not here. It's still evolving.
Still
electric guitar. Well, maybe classical guitar with Torres, Reyes, all these guys. So maybe that, but this steel string, and this is the challenge. This is what's awesome, and I think many of us builders are agreed with that, because and so it's super difficult to come with a new idea, and you need to do your homework, because if you are bringing something new in your craft, in your design, and someone did that, I did the mistake, like when I've made my first it was a classical guitar, and I honestly, I've designed a headstock, and it was like an inspiration of my current steel string, with my headstock, and it was the exact same one than Jeremy Clark from 52 Instruments at Montreal Malian, the exact same one. And Jeremy is super kind because he knows the struggle. He's a super nice designer, and he came to talk to me in private. Then I was like, no way. Oh shoot! And I made a post, and I was like, okay, this is Jeremy. It's totally unexpected, but so I redesigned a new headstock, But fortunately, my steel string guitar, I'm the only one to go to make this shape. Some other builders, it's pretty like the same spirit, but we generally respect each other's about that. But yeah, generally because there are some stories, of course. We won't say things like that, but yeah, it's a struggle. We all of us are struggling with it, and it is just yeah. You can't know everything, so we all know that if someone is coming with that, mistakes is happening. Yeah, definitely. When you say if you didn't made any mistake, drop the first stone.
Yeah.
It's like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's cool to see that there are still every year some new builders that are coming with refreshing ideas, and yeah, it's a super nice community. I've had like from the first day I've started, some luthier who saved Santa Barbara, Joel Michaud.
Yeah.
I've screwed my only fingerboard for the guitar of the show, and I've made a post saying, okay, these guitars won't be at the show. Joel contacted me. He made a fingerboard in one day to me, shipped it. It arrived.
Wow.
It arrived the next day on FedEx, and I was
Wow.
like, okay, how much do I owe you? Nah,
Oh, yeah.
you just owe me to bring the guitar with you, complete the guitar, and because we were in the same house with Laurent Brondel, Ben Wilborn, and a couple Burton Logette. It was awesome, and yeah, and many Jason Coastal, Kathy Wingert, tons of builders who helped me and who were not like, oh my god, no, a new builder is coming, man. He will steal our job, No, the market is flooded, but we are gentlemen and gentlewomen, and we are trying to keep the head out of the water and to help each others, because we know I think we know when we are helping one of us, he will come back tomorrow, in 1 week, in 10 years, and be like,
Yeah.
okay, I didn't forget what you said, what you did to me, and okay, I want to help. How could and it is the beauty of the community, and
Yeah, I
great.
think to have a very healthy or
Yep.
somehow healthy community is very important in um, any type of business or industry. So yeah, that's why you like the first time you ever talked to me about this sort of conversation, this live, I was thrilled, man, because I was actually thinking the same thing. I was trying to talk to some Chinese luthiers, maybe not steel string guitar builders, but maybe violin makers or guitar repair people. I don't know, guitar players. I'm interested in talking to all of them, because I think right now is a point we're getting to a point where no one can actually fight just by himself, because the technology, information, designs, everything's going so fast.
Yep.
We can't just sit in our room like several decades ago. You can just come up with something new just by yourself, with our own imagination or something. It's impossible. You're not even going to know if your idea is new without talking to someone. If your design is new, it's everything's based on communication and learning and trading ideas and trading skills and everything. And yeah, I think we're like the second or third generation of guitar making. You think?
Excuse me, I was just writing something.
Yeah, you think we are the second or third generation in terms of guitar
And
making? Because
Me?
you dudes like they're the first generation, like you and
Oh
I,
yeah,
like the young. Yeah.
yeah. There is no craftsman in my family, not at all. I'm the first to work with wood like ever. Well,
Oh.
my grandfather were a jeweler, and after that, shortly after that, he had his own shop in Aix-en-Provence in France. So he was selling watches, and jewelry. But so he was not in the workshop to make the jewelry, but he was in French we are saying meilleur ouvrier de France, MOF, which is best craftsman in France. Each year there is a contest, and it is the same thing for Luthier. Alexandre Bouissou and Simon Bergen were the meilleur ouvrier de France this year. So I have he made a brooch, a beautiful brooch in platinum, I think. He gave it to me. And yeah, but there is no, my dad is a consultant. My mom was a psychoanalyst. So not at all, in fact. But yeah, I think we are in here for 1 hour and a
Oh
half.
yeah.
We need to make another one about guitar building because I have like a lot
Yeah.
of
Let's move on.
and
Let's move on to
and
something.
we need yeah we will do it again. Well, not tomorrow, but we will set things up and like maybe in a month or something like that. But we need to cover many. It's a thanks for this gift. It's a pleasure to talk with you. And yeah, what is your favorite tool, favorite woods, guitar shows? Because you were in
Yeah.
Japan, in Tokyo,
Yeah.
Osaka, and
Yeah.
yeah. It will be awesome to talk about that.
Yeah.
I will be very close because I have a couple of friends in Japan. Well, uh, in the Tokyo area, and they are like, okay, you need to come to Tokyo, and I know Dolphin Guitars, Ma, and they are like, okay, you need to come to, yeah, but it's super expensive, and to bring the guitars, and
Yeah.
it's like that for everyone, but yeah, it's and I want to visit Japan. I'm a Japanese addict since I'm 8 with Dragon Ball Z, cards and mangas and all the things. So being in Japan, the food and
Yeah.
we could talk about that for 2 hours, but yeah, I would be very curious to learn about your experience in Japan because you posted pictures. This is how I discovered you, in fact.
Yeah.
Pictures of your guitars, you in Japan at the Osaka show, and yeah, we need to do that again if you are in for that.
Yeah. I'm definitely in for that. And yeah. So
Awesome,
yeah. I like this kind of a conversation. So yeah, let's make a schedule for it.
awesome. Yeah, and
Yeah.
good luck for the translation of the book. Are you close to the end or still tons of work?
I have already finished the translation in
Oh,
2021, I think, or
okay, nice.
2024. Yeah, I finished the translation and Fingerstyle China. They're working with the press, with the publisher.
Mm-hmm.
They paid a certain amount of people, a certain amount of money to get it published. And now the publisher in China, the publishers in China, they're kind of, they're very strict. They're
Mm-hmm.
scrutinizing every details in the box because it's not a small thing to do, to publish anything in China
Yeah,
because of obvious reasons.
yeah.
Um, so they've been doing this for 2 years already. So the book,
Okay, well,
yeah.
I
So
will pleased
we're
to get one. I will be very pleased to get one. It will be awesome. So please let me know when it will be.
yeah,
I want it to sign by you.
I will. Yeah. They told me the books will be out in 2025. So
Nice.
I should expect them to come out in 2025. I can't wait anymore because holy shit! I started translation in 2019.
Oh,
2019, yeah, 2020. It's been like 6 years, and I've been working on this project for forever. And
yeah.
nobody actually paid me enough to do that job. Actually,
Yeah.
Fingerstyle China, it was like an okay price to buy script, but the work that I did before and after that, nah, you know. So we got a contract like a dealership. I can actually sell the books to compensate
Nice.
like some of the works that I've been doing for years.
Mm.
Yeah, so I'm gonna do that, and I would really enjoy sending my own translation books.
Awesome. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
my sister made her thesis in English, French, and Chinese
Wow.
twice, because when she did that in China, it was not recognized by the French government. So she had to do a new studies like for 2 or 3 years to make a new thesis, like insane.
Insane.
So yeah, she talked to me about the struggle to make to translate and to things and
In
but
China.
yeah, I know the struggle to talk in English um, for these videos, because when you are speaking your native language, when you are Chinese, French, German, all the things, you can't be you can't you can't uh, you can't be understood by the menace, And in Quebec, we are speaking French, and we have a real struggle to save French, because with Montreal, a lot of people are talking English because there are Ontario and Vermont all around. We are like, the Asterix and Obelix, the comics, French comics, Belgium. The we well there is a it was during the Roman invasion,
Yeah.
before Christ, and there is a little village in the entire Roman Empire, and it's like the joke is like they are fighting for their identity, and it is a little like that in Quebec. If you have a website, you need to have it in French and English, and yeah, uh, I I need to do these videos in English, but when I interview some French people or from Quebec, like Antoine, Rachel Rosenkranz, who is from Paris, but she is living in near New York for like 15 years, I will do it in French, because on YouTube you have subtitles. You can, and it will be super strange to have two French people speaking English. Or maybe with Rachel, we can do it in English because Rachel is totally fluent, so it will be fine. But with builders that are French or from Quebec that are not fluent in English, I won't have any choice, because there are some things, you've seen it, I struggle with some English terms and words, and I'm like, okay, I need to say it in another way, similar way, to be understood. Yeah, sometimes it's like, okay, I have no trouble doing that. It is a part of the game. But sometimes it's like, okay, I would want to cover some things, technical things. The first thing we are learning at school, are the terms, sides, eclipse, the name of French and English, because they know that you'll need to sell your guitars in the US or somewhere else internationally. It is a goal. So you need to know that.
Yeah.
It is the first thing, the first thing to learn.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Right,
So,
right now, I'm trying to learn to speak Italian. I just,
oh,
yeah, because
nice.
yeah, I spent many years learning English,
Mhm.
trying to get my pronunciations perfect, trying to get my mindset for English perfect. Uh, so in 2016, I just got into this uh, mindset or state of mind
Yep.
where I didn't need to speak English by translating my Chinese idea into English.
Mhm. Yeah.
I understand that most of English speakers, even for Italian speakers or French speakers, as their native language speakers, they do translation in their minds. And in China, it's even more popular because the Chinese education is something like, I'm not trying to judge because I'm still streaming on Bilibili. I'm not gonna say this is bad. I'm gonna your streaming is off.
Yes, yes.
I'm not gonna do that. But yeah,
Good.
so in China, when you're trying to learn English, your teacher will just sell you like tons of terms and just jargons, vocabulary, and they will just tell you, okay, now you remember all of these by heart, and you can speak English.
Oh.
Then they're gonna teach you like grammars. Okay, we
Fran-
got
in
like
France, same
yeah,
thing in France. And honestly, before I've choose to go in Quebec to learn Luthier because I couldn't speak English. Like I struggle with English and Spanish and Spanish. I think the first year they tried for us to learn English, I was 11, something like that. And from 11 to 26, 27, I was like terrible in English. And it's yeah, like you said, you have a click in your mind, and it's like you can say joke in English. Yeah, because before that, you are trying to translate word by word from French to English or Chinese to English, and it's not working because it's like a state of mind. It's like a flow you need to get. And yeah, sometimes
yeah.
I've told some joke in
I
English, and it's like it's not even funny. Yes, but in French it is.
yeah, I
So,
in the third year as a in my university, I had the privilege to go to a seminar or speech by a renowned linguist, Raudalis, I think that's his name. He's like the founder of cognitive linguistics.
okay.
And cognitive linguistics is about the cognition of a language and the process of it, like how human brains actually accept a language, and they
Mhm.
want to reverse it. They want to reverse the process and figure out what's
Okay.
happening with your brain cells, the layers in your brain, and the sequence of your learning, doing A, B, C, and D, and what if we just change the sequence in order and everything, and
Mhm.
so this dude Rod is actually studied like dozens of years of this, and he came to a conclusion of, with of course with his colleagues and everything, and science and everything, that yeah, you want to actually learn to speak a language like a native speaker, you actually need to change your mind. Like
Yeah.
you need to have like two sets of mindset, and
Mhm.
when you're speaking English, if you can actually speak English, you're actually turning a switch off of your Chinese, your Chinese or French or Spanish mind. It's
It's
gonna
true.
and off, and your English mind is on, and you can speak anything, and you can, but it's gonna take time. You're gonna
Yeah.
take everything. You're gonna stay in the environment. You're gonna breathe and think and dream in English,
Yeah.
especially in
And
dreams.
yeah, and for a French guy, it is Latin, so Italian, Spanish, French. When you learn English, English is in fact easier than French. You don't have all the accents and all the feminine, masculine, all the things. The vous, tu, you is the same thing when you are polite and you are friend with someone.
Yeah.
So and in French it is super complicated. But the way they are teaching us in France, it is like, okay, you need to use the past tense
Yeah.
to say like that. You are like, yeah, but you won't talk to someone, be like, okay, I need to use past tense. No, it will flow. And yeah, it's a struggle we have in France. And when I was in Quebec, when I arrived, so of course I needed to take the course in English again.
Mm-hmm.
It was it was it was not in front of a paper sheet. It was in front of other people, and it's like with different courses. Okay, now you'll talk about your favorite music, and you'll be in groups,
Yeah.
and it is very very funny. And yeah, I had good grades in English, but yeah, it is for another time.
Yeah.
And it's late at your place, right? It's
Yeah,
two
1:39.
2.5.
Well, it's okay for me, but yeah, I don't have a time limit for every streaming,
Yeah.
I think. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but
So
people will have a time limit, because I will post on YouTube and Instagram, but Instagram it will be a short, a
oh,
short video like 6 minutes. I will take the good bit. But yeah, people, I know myself when I have a podcast of more than one hour and a half, I'm like, okay, I need to take it back again. So we'll make different episodes
yeah. So
when you'll be
let's
ready.
save the rest of the questions for next time.
Yep, I have them.
Got it.
Thanks a lot. It was awesome. Live the last time we talked in private. It was super fun. Yeah,
Yeah, it's fun
thank you.
talking to you. Same. And yeah, I love streaming on Instagram. I think it's the separate squares on the screen is fun and it's easy to
Yep,
use. Well, I've never done any streaming in China actually, and maybe I think I'll start doing some after this time.
awesome, great.
I don't know
Well,
if it's
see you next
working, but
time.
yeah,
Or,
yeah,
or,
yeah, yeah. Yes.
or well, not in 1 month, huh? But well, Messenger or to talk some gossips.
Okay. All right, man. So yeah, nice talking to
Take
you.
care. Take
For the
care, and
invitation.
always a pleasure to see your craft. Your guitars are awesome.
Thanks, man. Well, I build really, really slowly, and I can't stand myself being so slow, but that's the way I am. So I gotta accept myself after years of just knowing that. Shit. Okay, I'm like, yeah, I'm slow. I'm a very slow builder, so that's
Uh,
that.
I
Yeah,
feel you. I'm like that too. So
yeah.
cheers,
I
man.
dream about building 20 guitars a year. I
Me
do.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, but not possible. I can't even get to 10.
Yeah. Well, we are doing our best, and it's okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah,
You're
appreciate it.
welcome.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And
Yeah,
please say hi to Ervin the next time you'll talk with him.
yeah, I will definitely. Bye.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Cheers. Thanks
Cheers,
again,
man.
Sibo. Bye.
You're welcome. Bye. Bye. Appreciate it. Yeah. Next
Same.
time.